Alright, welcome guys to STG Week number 154, the evolution of STG music. Today I'm the main host, ExtruderX, and we also have Nasty Wolverine.
Hello everybody.
Okay, and our beautiful musicians who have their talents to bring us some quality music that we will hear in this playlist as well. Hello Beatsgo.
Hey, what's up folks?
Okay, hello ArcOfDream, composer of the game Monolith.
Hello, I'm bobbing my head to some diaries first.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. And speaking of Zuntata, we have our resident Zuntata expert and MSX musician, Tane.
What's up, everybody? Sometimes I like fish music, sometimes I make silly music as well. It's not very good, but you know.
Why not both? Okay.
Yeah, it's like the meme stuff.
Today we are going throughout the entire history and the most important eras of STG music. So we are covering the various hardware, how it affects the music, just the outside influences from the music genres, how to make shmup music, how to cover it, how to make it fit the stages and bosses, and that's our roundtable episode for today. And we want to start with very familiar thing for those people who are above 35 years old.
Yeah, the old people game.
I'm not 35 years old, guys.
Okay, yeah, here we go. It's Space Invaders. It's a cult game made by Taito. Yeah, just crank up those credits. Feel the bass. Oop.
This would be the ultimate, the first shmup music. It's so simple. It's like 4 notes, and that's it. And I think I remember reading from the interview that he did not know how to make music, or the hardware was not powerful enough to have more notes. So he just had 4 notes going. And the quirk that it speeds up is not programmed. It was an accident. It was a byproduct of like the hardware speeding up as there are less enemies on screen. But interestingly enough, it like keeps up. It's a good beat for the game.
Yeah, that's actually pretty interesting detail, that it speeds up by accident, and yeah, just it really just makes a good job at signifying the game flow. And the ship is destroyed. Okay, how much more of this torture we gonna hear? Okay, half a minute more. Yeah, just let him finish.
Good job.
Yeah, let him finish. It's just builds up tension, just it gets faster, like Jaws. And the UFOs too. It's Taito. It's Taito's first step to being the king of music. Come on, finish it.
Yeah, it's one of those like games that really introduce not just the world, Japan to shmups, but eventually became a successful arcade game in the States as well. When we talk States, United States, so it's it's important that there's some huge influence with not just the gameplay, but what to expect with this genre of games.
Okay, yeah.
This game also got so famous that I'm pretty sure everybody knows the story. For the ones that don't, Space Invaders got so famous that it caused a coin shortage, the 100 yen coin shortage in Japan, because everybody was putting the coins into the machines. And they had to print more coins just because of the game.
Nice. Yeah, that's amazing. They were pretty much addicted to it. Alright, and we're gonna skip it. It's at the 3 minutes mark. Okay, skip.
Alright, so let's sync up everybody. We're starting on the fourth track, Radius Ultimate Collection Challenger.
Okay,
So-
yeah. I'm gonna do the countdown. Everybody has the playlist
Alright.
ready?
Everybody ready?
Yep.
Alright, let's go.
3, 2, 1, click. Gradius is very important in arcade shmup music because it was the first shmup to feature individual stage music.
And the opening jingle is kind of like, it's everyone who's played Radius or STGs knows it because it's so good.
It's
Yeah.
so good
I
that
think
you
Gradius
still
is... No, go ahead, sorry.
It's so good, in fact, that you can see cameos of the ship, of the Vic Viper ship, in many other games.
Radius
It's funny
is the
because
OG
I-
shmup.
Oh man, okay, go ahead.
I'm done.
Awkward.
I'll go. I think it's the leaping part for many people to jump into the shmup train music because personally, like, I get to shmups mainly because of the music of the shmups that I had no idea about, and I think the main thing that made me connect to all of these games, which would later be Cave and then more classic stuff, was Gradius. And I think it's the same for a lot of people. It's like the first shmup music that makes people interested in knowing more shmup music.
Yeah, it's just the melodies are very symbolic, and just has the most important thing is themes too, because are what makes a shmup a shmup. I mean, this as mentioned earlier, this is like one of the few shmup games that really started what a theme level for each stage, and each theme fits what each song and each stage is supposed to be.
Yeah, that's
So,
amazing.
for example, this one. Yeah, for example, with Mechanical Global, I think this is I don't recall what stage this one was. but-
It's the bass, I think.
right. But you could tell from like the motifs that there's this like dangerous feel that we have to advance to the next part to continue on with this story, even though there's really no story to it, but that's what makes Gradius kind of like very unique during its time. It's that motifs they carry on, the storytelling.
Yeah,
We are on the boss music now, and this is iconic. Like, for me, this brings back memories of my childhood playing Gradius NES, the NES version. I used to have it.
First exposure to the series personally was Parodius, and it has this song as well, and it's indeed very good. It's like a million versions of it.
yeah, this is a very good video because it's pretty much the same theme, but it showcases just the differences between all the different kinds of hardware so well. Just an evolution that just in this small video. It's very convenient to see.
I think the boss theme, the first time I heard it was I think the G2. That was the one that really kind of like, oh, that's a really cool theme song. Obviously, it doesn't reoccur to me like there's like multiple versions of Gradius until Gradius got in, which is this one I got in. I was like, oh my gosh, I want to hear this again.
I only thought that the NES version of Radius existed. I did not know there was an arcade game called Radius. I thought it was a NES game only. Still, I found so many of them that kind of blew my mind. That guy did his best. Don't ask me.
You can tell that to Super Viper. He'll definitely say it's the best. I mean, I could concur with him too, but I mean, I definitely think like G2 or G3 has the better version, in my opinion.
Yeah. And here's the best one. Just listen to it.
I forgot who's the artist, but he was like, it's very unique during that time because obviously that Radius 5 was like released around early 2000s, so they had like full-blown usage of CD quality music instead of just the typical sound chip based music.
Yeah, Creative 5 is done by the original Slovakian dude, Toshi Sakamoto.
Yeah, Treasure, that's really cool. So, Gradius 5 just goes ham and turns like 6 seconds theme into a full thing, just a small space opera. And here's the epic part. Yeah, it plays during the boss rush and you're just being assaulted by all sorts of big cores. This game is really just Gradius by Treasure, just its trademark cinematic value, and the same value it applies to the OST too. And in Gradius 4, the themes are more jazzy just throughout the entire thing.
Yeah, I'm not one for orchestral themes, but I kind of dig this one.
I could see where the taste of the artist / the times too, because during that, when we were talking about like Gradius 4, that was the time when we could start using MIDI style music or use a little bit more real instruments because we had the hardware capabilities that time compared to ages ago where hardware you're only given maybe a 4-channel sound chip, and it's just you can't really produce that much type of sound. So the theme also, it's partially related to what's available at that time as well.
Yeah, but limitation does breed creativity, so
yeah, and we're gonna see that very, very soon. Yeah.
I think the original was only 3 channels. It's 3 PSG channels, that's it.
somehow I find that, at least I feel that the NES version of the Gradius music is better than the arcade version, Gradius 1. But that's just me, because I grew up with it.
I have never ever been able to shake off the thought that the Gradius music from TNES kind of reminded me of New Age music. As a composer, I really enjoy thinking of like the chiptune music that's made in the past in different genres, how it could have sounded.
Oh no, there's Apache slot machine too.
This kind of rocks, but
isn't it kinda...
4 on the floor drums, dance track?
Isn't it kinda rave influence type of thing?
Yeah, there's leaning more towards psytrance-ish, but like
Oh
little slow
boy, we
BPM.
now.
I mean, it's
definitely want to play Gradius Pachinko.
Yeah,
Yeah.
grab the sticks. Okay, and here goes R-Type.
Yeah, R-Type definitely has like a different type of theming here.
It's interesting in that it creates the whole OST without drugs, I mean drums.
Yeah, what about drugs?
Maybe.
Drugs also were included, maybe.
I mean, the stage art is pretty, almost Giger-esque.
Yeah, you can't think of those kind of things without some drugs, pretty sure.
You could be more leaning towards to like what's the band? Oh, I forgot the band, but you can make music without drugs for themes like this. But
Okay, we have composers here.
I'm not gonna lie, I haven't played R-Type before, but I can tell like the music's like telling me, are you ready for an adventure? I am.
That's a travesty and you should fix that. You should play R-Type. It's one of the best games ever.
It's very influential. It creates many like gimmicks for the later games, like the charge shot like the giant ships that take half of the stage on their own.
Yeah, Dent is saying R-Type is metal as fuck. It is as metal. And
Yeah,
this theme... Yeah, go ahead.
No,
Right, so this theme is like, if it was done on a real instrument, I think the most closest to a style it would be as power ballad, power metal.
Quite possible.
Agrees, disagrees?
It's gotta be one of the first soundtracks to be made with FM synthesis for Shmup as well, I believe. Before that was just wavetable synthesis, just like Gradius, for example.
Okay,
For
this
those
is...
who don't know, like FM is frequency modulation. It's a different approach to how you operate, how you generate sound. Wavetable, on the other hand, for example, is just a predefined wave shape based off of steps that generate that a sound signal.
Yeah, generate your own waveform and basically make tones different kind of with that. With FM it's much more complex, but at first there was only 2 operators, and as the hardware got better, we got 4 operators, like on post-arcade titles later.
Yeah, and Genesis
like
as well.
2 FM synthesis obviously is like very poor and quite crude.
Over in Japan, the FM synthesis have been used very cleverly.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot of games didn't really make a good use of the FM synthesis, so people started to hate on Genesis sound chip exactly because of that, saying it's robo-farting.
75% of FM synthesis sounds is farts, the other are bells, and then a lot of basses, and then a lot of noise as well. That's what make the most. If you don't know about FM synthesis, you're gonna take a FM VST or something, and you're gonna try and make your own patch. That's what you're gonna get all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've tried
Mostly
that,
false.
and that's my experience as well. If you don't know what you're doing with FM synthesis, mostly fart. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't
There
spell...
are ways to
you can
import
spell...
patches from games.
Yeah, you can spell fart without art.
Exactly.
Okay, and we're moving on to MSX.
So this is wavetable synthesis, for example. So you make your own waveforms. It's not like totally different. It's more simple, obviously.
Yeah. The only downside is you're kind of limited to how many waveforms you can use, but it's the possibilities of defining those waveforms is almost vastly unlimited at that point.
Alright, this song
Well,
is interesting.
making dubstep and stuff with wavetable as well. Just exactly the same synthesis. It's just a matter that people didn't know how to use it well back then.
Yeah, so for those who are wondering, this is, MSX, in my opinion, is like, Konami's golden age of, music, because, oh boy, they really knew how to use the PSG chip, and then obviously I think with their cards they include another sound chip on there, if I recall correctly.
Yeah. Usually the MSX has 3 PSG internal channels, and the STG chip adds 5 channels of wavetable synthesis. So the first games that were released like this one, they have like kind of simple wavetable usage, but in the later games like, for example, I don't know, Snatcher, SD Snatcher one becomes way more complex with instruments and stuff like that.
Yeah, this song is interesting in that it's the intro song, and usually like the arcade releases of that time didn't really have that, but it's the home release and it has the beautiful intro cutscene that shows Dr. Venom slowly taking revenge on humanity.
This song is very good, theming of what to expect, and it's just, there's that swing feel from like, horror-ish to like a, like an adventure feel, so that it feels like it's the great intro song to create.
Yeah, by the way, this is mostly just Sawtooth. waveforms. So just the same sound for bass and lead and everything.
I'm fine with that as long as the sound is endearing.
Yes. I mean, the Sawtooth is considered, like, in my opinion, one of the most widely used sound waves you can use in a song. Besides, you know, a sine, a square. If you're going, you know, chippy-ish or going very, you know, try and create your own synth.
Yeah. Okay, here's Moonspin, one of the more famous tracks out of the Nemesis series because it's featured in MSX version of Salamander, Nemesis 2, and Salamander 2's second loop stage, which is a really nice callback.
It's funny also because Konami is the only one that used drums, used the PSG channels, so the internal stuff in the MSX to make absolutely amazing drums. People never managed to actually know how to do that before that. It was like millions of games that just use absolutely crappy drums. And just out of the blue, Konami came out and just made the awesome patches, just this really clicky noise kind of trademark.
Okay, let's resync on this track.
Okay,
So
yeah,
we are
Dear
on
Blue.
Track 11.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good idea.
So, everybody, XC, go ahead and do the countdown.
Me
3.
on the Salamander
Oh.
track.
Yeah,
Dear Blue.
Salamander 2, Dear Blue,
Okay.
SCC version.
Alright.
3, 2, 1, click. And here Guillotine's covers. He uses the software called Trilo Tracker, which is an MSX tool.
Yeah, we actually got two tracker musicians here,
It's hard to
Tane
use.
and Beatsgo.
Yeah, can we
what do you
explain
use
how
generally?
trackers work on this video?
Yeah,
In case of Monolith, the one I worked for, I use PX Tone, which is piano roll based.
Oh, that's cool. Didn't know that.
So yeah, you kinda get to program the notes into the specific columns and then apply the effects to them.
Yeah, so there's only, as you can see, there's like 8 channels. So as I said, there's like 3 PSG, so that's like in the MSX, and like 5 extra, that's like in the cartridge of the game from Konami. And yeah, here it's kind of limited because there's only one effect you can put at the same time in one channel, so it limits a bit of what you can do with the chip, but it's still pretty good software.
Pretty good software for sure, man.
I tried to use trackers before, but it just goes over my head.
It's just
I've
a
actually learned how to use trackers, but I'm so slow.
Oh yeah, it needs to be mentioned that trackers are popular in the demo scene production because they create really small files. And because they only store like note data, like samples, they have very small sizes.
Oh, I've seen some amazing 4K spaceship-themed demos.
Yeah, some of those were like, it's just unbelievable. I mean, especially back in the like not 90s. That's when people are like, oh, we could just go ham with the software because you just know the innards of it and start doing some crazy stuff.
Yeah, I think it's important to mention that it's usually not made. I don't know what there's a fucking card on the fucking video, whatever. It's usually made with MML or assembly and not through tracker. Obviously, it's usually more Western.
Yep.
Okay, we're coming
Also-
over to Masahiro Yuge.
Oh, damn. The Truxton track is actually blocked in my country.
That's a first.
Yeah.
This track is so far away from you.
Man,
It's,
this
Just imagine really nice soundtrack.
Yeah. So I like how just it's so cheerful. It's for the first stage, just generally they want to pump the player up. That's the tendency I've noticed. Very optimistic.
I like that bass that's going on. I think sounds like either a saw or a square, maybe.
No, that's definitely a saw. But I mean, it's like you can tell from like this generation of music, you're starting to see more heavy use of FM synths, because there's just a huge possibilities of producing more different high quality sounding instruments without using too much resources on a sound chip.
Okay, if this track's blocked, we'll skip to the next one right now. Grindstormer. Large Charge.
I just want to mention that the Truxton video was blocked in my country.
Yeah. I'm skipping it for that reason. Yeah, we're flexible like that. Okay, yeah, Grindstormer. 3, 2, 1, click. And here goes FM synthesis goodness, just this raw, just punk rock style, whatever.
I've actually never heard of this game.
It's amazing. Really,
Yeah,
very
you should
underrated
play it.
game in my opinion, because like Ikeda thinks that it's kind of a bit of a shame for him, but Yuge says that it was the last game they used the FM synthesis for because they had the leftover boards and they had to make use of them. He says that he thought that he would have made the OST better using the PSG, PCM, I mean, samples. But no, it's FM, and I like it that way, honestly. It's just rocking.
I mean,
You can tell, like, when you try to overload, I would say overload, but if there's an operator, and when you talk about operators, it's basically algorithms. I think I'm doing that correctly. But there's a particular algorithm that allows you to do feedback into a carrier, I believe. I'm trying to know my terminology here, but what happens is you kind of like add more sound to it, and it just starts to create these grittier sounds. So, for example, like the guitar you're hearing in this song, it's using that type of effect to really make it sound like a guitar.
Oh
It
yes.
does sound like a distorted guitar.
Yeah, Thunder Force 4 guitars, they use like 4 channels out of 6 FM channels just for one guitar instrument. That's how complex it gets.
yeah, it's all in the detuning. It's just cloning the same note, but just have different tuning, so it makes that fat detuned sound, basically.
It's a power chord in a FM synthesis chip, literally.
Yeah, also this game has an unfortunate problem, and that's you don't get the drum channel if you're firing certain weapons, so I hope if this game ever gets ported by M2, this should be fixed.
Well, part of it too is you have to understand during this time also you're still limited on how many sound channels you're given. So you have to remember the sound chip also is doing the audio effects. So sometimes you may not have enough space to prioritize the music, so you may have to cut off or switch to a different sound during that specific time when it's needed.
Yeah, so it's kind of difficult to appreciate the music inside of the game, so I just listen to the OST separately.
That's okay. The sound chip is doing its best. I appreciate it.
Yeah. The game's pretty cool too. It really gives the impression of the stage 3 when things just usually get serious and there's this large enemy attack force that's just trying its best to just coordinate its attacks against you. That's why it's called Large Charge.
That bass, that walking bass, that's like pretty damn good.
It really is. Just the whole OST is amazing. It's a hidden gem in the library. The Genesis version, unfortunately, isn't as good.
I would say one thing that I know that soundtrack hasn't been fully explored until we go to Rising era of music.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, fish music.
Yay,
Oh, yeah.
fishy.
Yeah, sampling. Yeah, in 1994, just sampling becomes more widespread in general, and so we see these vocals coming in really strong, and I like these. So
Well, this is guidance, so this is kind of like a time when, you know, with the F3 board by Taito, you really had an expanded library of sounds you could really. Opposite PCM chips that this time were like really powerful too. So you guys can talk. I'm gonna look up what chip they use for the F3.
Okay, so
I want to know who's the vocalist for this track.
I think Tane's the expert on Zuntata, so...
Yeah, but I'm not an expert on Gaiden at all. In fact, I've never even played it, seriously.
Wow.
Oh,
I know for sure it's mostly samples. It's a lot of, it's like half, there's half FM synthesis and half just samples, like low quality and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just the things that Japanese people like to take the samples just at least early on, like in games like Sonic CD and whatnot, just from the sample disc collections. So sometimes they don't even know the singers, don't know the stuff where it appeared from, which creates funny situations like, yeah, you hear just a really old song and like, yeah, oh, it was sampled in a video game, oh. But yeah, in the live concerts, the vocals are also sampled. Unfortunately, just there's no just woman singing. I would appreciate that really.
Well, some of those those live sessions, they do have some singers there. It just depends on the taste or what type of effect they're really going for. But I mean, definitely I would try to use live art, live singers that time as much as possible.
I think like more than the sound composition, like what sounds this track has, the style is really amazing because Zuntata, it's like fusions of like different things and music concrete and weird sounds, but it works so well.
Mostly new age. When Ogura, like all the fish music from Ogura, they're all like super new age inspired.
Okay, from the gameplay standpoint, Ogura actually contributed to the stage design of this game in that he made this song span 2 stages, as well as just the song Self, which is the final stage and the boss theme at the same time. It transitions one of the other.
So, like, Tan, what do you think would be like, good new age music that could be comparable to Darius Gaiden music in this stage?
I don't know. The solution to everything Japanese that's from the 80s, 90s is usually YMO. You have to look into it. If you don't know YMO, Yellow Magic Orchestra, look it up. Of course, it's really good. And yeah, mostly like everything electronic from the 70s, 80s, 90s. It's really big influence. Also, I think Kayokyoku was also a big influence for Ogura, so basically just J-pop before it was J-pop, so in the 80s and stuff like that. That makes sense. It's a big Kayokyoku fan.
YMO is pretty big even outside of Japan. I think anyone who's ever been interested in electronic music, at least learning how to make it, has probably heard of them, because
yeah, I
they
mean,
were
if
pretty
you know
OG.
electronic music, Kraftwerk and YMO, of course. That's
Yeah,
of course.
Kraftwerk and YMO, both of them. Yeah.
Kraftwerk, yeah.
Oh boy, the big one.
this is my jam. Then I actually know quite a lot about like how this was made. So this uses triangle bass, and the drums are samples. And no wait, the bass is sine,
But
and
mostly
everything
it
else
has
is triangle.
glorious orchestra hit.
Okay, what's the expansion chip for this?
There is no expansion chip.
No
This
expansion,
is
it's
on
just
the-
DPCM channel playing some samples, drums, and this big orchestra hit that's really like it's being reused in so many like in the chiptune scene. It's being used all over the place.
It's as prolific as the aim and bait.
Yeah, well, the thing about the orchestra hit, that's like what a sound module type of sound. So if it's really used everywhere, including house music.
Oh yeah, there's a legend that Yagawa for this game and for Garega probably, he just grabbed a random disc of techno, Detroit techno, and said just.
It did not grab a random disc of techno. It was Underground Resistance.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. And he just said, yeah, I want this.
Yeah. Basically, what happened with this game, at least, is the music was pretty. I think it started out very melodic, but then Yagawa said, like, no, I want techno, and this is what happened in the end. I think it's the same for
More
Garega as well.
Yeah, it's in techno though, Reka.
Huh?
In the case of Reka, of course, like Garega is very like Detroit techno, but I feel like Reka is more like Chicago acid house.
Yeah.
It's even
Yeah.
older than that.
Yeah, because I mean, I would definitely kind of agree with Tane on this because it's you can tell there's just acid feel to it.
Yeah, isn't
Because
Acid
Detroit
also
Techno-
younger than Detroit Techno?
It was around the same time.
Okay, makes sense.
So ArcOfDream, what do you think of like music this time? Like when with acid music, and do you think that was there like any other type of games were influenced by this, or what's your thought about it?
I'm actually
Also,
a fan of Acid. It's a lot. I remember having quite a few of Acid bass plugins, like T4N3s. And before I did chiptune, I used to play with those a lot. I think there's still some of that left in more classic tracks I make.
Also, this drop where the melody comes in blew my mind as a kid. I did not even know that music like this can exist at that point. I was probably something 14.
I think that's the remnant of the melodic direction that was pursued initially.
Dude, it blew my mind as an adult. Like, seriously, it's a freaking NES.
One of funny channels, but when you think about it, sometimes house music it just has like 5 layers of instruments as well. It's not much more than that. So basically, you can do it a lot with just 5 channels.
From my experience of working with FamiTracker, I think that there's really hard job going into make the NES and Famicom chips not sound like their NES.
Yeah, this does not sound like the Famicom or the NES because like the approach to making it is so different. They used more samples than I think any other track in any other game because like half this the sound, the drums are completely samples, and if you remember the memory restrictions on the game on NES is actually like they devote a lot of memory to the samples. So a lot of effort was put into the track.
Yeah, when you think of
Yeah, this tune is iconic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's funny to mention that DPCM channels playing the samples, they take a lot of space. So if you put too many of them, then you don't have space for a game. It's kind of funny.
This track is a banger.
Yeah, it isn't really visible, but I'm headbanging right now.
And that's my first contact with Manabu Namiki, and I've been a fan of his work ever since.
Oh yeah. But was he he's been like with the Rising Company from like I guess the beginning until like towards towards, well, Rising is still like around if I recall. But yeah, man, it's like this. I know Gregor was like my first influence from him. It's just like there, I was like, oh my god, what type of sounds can you get out of this sound chip, man?
What kind of music is even started stumping? Is it just like hardcore, or is it something
It's-
more fine than that?
Gaber, I think.
Yeah, it's closer to Gable with like techno influences, but it's very hard to like quantify it. The beat, the drum beat, it's definitely techno.
It's
I'd chalk it up to hardcore techno.
That's I
God.
think as close as we can get.
subgenres. Oh god, let's not go that far, please. That's like a different discussion.
And
its
it
own
has
right.
the acid influence. You can hear the 303 kind of like sound squelching.
But I tell you one thing, he uses like slide, I call it note sliding. You slide from one note to the other so well. It's like oh my gosh, you
Ornamental.
can't-
The note sliding is a science. That's what differentiates the most shmup music that sound like they're a slide whistle, and some of them sounds like they have really nice sliding in their lead or whatever. Because obviously Garaga has very nice pitch bending.
Pitch bending. You just
No,
grab the pitch and tell it to bend
PXO,
over.
despite having like a really cumbersome interface to operate with, it has a really clever way of dealing with note sliding in particular. You can dynamically change how long this note will slide, as well as the points at which it will slide. So you can do vibrato and among other things.
Okay, yeah, here's
Also,
another Tane
this-
cover.
The sound.
This godly mashup from Tane is godly.
It is.
That's all I'll
Funny
say.
because it's a remix of a remix of a remix. Wow.
How many layers deep are we in here? 5, 10?
About 4 or 5, my dude.
It's the N163, which is the I'm just remembered NES. Is that correct?
Famicom expansion chip.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it features
With a
8
chip
wavetape
that adds
channels.
Up to
Yeah.
8 channels. But the more you add channels, the more it sounds noisy. So basically, most of the time you don't want to use all 8. But I used all 8. And
Did you use Fami Tracker? I'm guessing with this one, then. Or-
yeah.
FamiTracker is a really nice tool.
Otherwise
It's easy to get used
MML,
to.
it's music micro language, and that's obviously no.
Yeah, that's for those who don't know. MML is music macro language. That's more of a like PC98 stuff. Yeah, that's
Speaking of
kind of
this-
seen in MSX as well. It's a different. It's a language. It's like a coding language for music, basically.
Yeah, usually music that's made in arcade or whatever, like it's not done with trackers like I did, but usually it's just assembly or MML. That's music micro language, which is basically just in the notepad. So basically going blind. If you know what you have, basically you have to know what you're doing. It's not like previewing or anything like that.
Yeah.
There is.
I mean,
there's
there's.
panel to do it.
I mean, there is some type of previewing back then, but it's a lot more cumbersome compared to like today's stuff with modern MMLs. Because a lot of the modern stuff, it's easier to track, debug, track, and look at. So good old Dodonpachi.
Oh man. I don't know to love this track or hate this track.
The boss team is the best though, you have to admit. Like, it's so good that it's one boss team throughout the entire game, and except one bit before, like, Taisabachi.
Very iconic
The banging
beats.
music from long hairs.
Yeah,
An anime.
you gotta be headbanging to this.
Yeah, so you're too busy dying though. Oh yeah, by the way, the music in the arcade is like highly compressed, so I recommend just watching this one on YouTube, it's much better.
You know what
Yeah.
would go well with that? Death metal vocals.
Wow, wow!
Yeah, no, dude, some good old wailing on top of it. That's what
Yeah.
we need.
Okay, we gotta skip this one too. Because Zuntata. Because Zuntata is just the reason of like half of this episode, maybe less. Okay, yeah. G Darius. Countdown.
We skipping? Alright.
Yeah, G Darius. 3, 2.
This is extremely experimental
Oh, okay.
stuff, obviously.
3, 2, 1. Click.
This is the album version, so there is a weird noise, a weird intro to it. The game does not have it though.
Oh yeah. So this OST is even more experimental than Darius Gaiden, and it's amazing.
I love this track. I have it on my phone and I listen to it very often because
Yeah.
it's just so good. It's so different and like there's not even like what do you classify this as?
Okay.
Experimental.
Yeah,
I like
and
experimental new age. Yeah, it's in that kind of realm, to be honest.
Zuntata Core.
Like you got interested in some really weird stuff at some point. This is all done in a. I saw someone mentioned Fairlight in the chat. I think it's actually it's called Emulator 2. It's not emulator, like of course the game emulators, but it's a synthesizer. It's a big. It's just what works like sound founts basically. It's like it's the same principle.
Oh yeah, this track is playing during Queen Fossil, which is handily enough on the game box, so you can see her here. It's an amazing fight, even though it's in the stage 2. It's just multi-layer freaking boss. And you spend just ages just circling around it before you finally get the chance to counter beam it and kill your bitrate.
Man, I forgot how oddball this was, and it keeps catching me off guard in a good way.
Haha, yeah.
It's a tough boss.
Why is it called BT Dutch though? What does it have to do with Dutch people?
maybe he just like hates Dutch people and he summoned up all the anger for them and made this track.
I mean, the Dutch people eat a lot of fish. I mean, they live near the polder, so maybe the fish hate the Dutch people, so it's called BT Dutch.
Oh boy.
Maybe that as well.
But Dutch people, they eat so many fish, they become really cool shmuppers like Jamers, like Pazzi, Zigzag Wolf, Marblehorn, and many others.
That is
Yatsuzum.
true.
Yeah, just there are lots. You just there needs to be a shmup marathon from them. Yatsuzum is going to speedrun a shmup, just a bit of an off top, but he's going to bring the game to the popular BSG marathon. Yeah, Tahoe double spoiler. And he's going to be like almost VR tier back to then. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, awesome tune. Really just authentic. I don't remember just in which stages it also plays. Of course, in the games with branching paths like Darius, some of the tracks have to double for certain. But it's a very memorable one.
You could definitely
like
tell this. You could definitely tell this huge use of PCM sounds. Obviously, during this time too, with the PlayStation 1, that's when it really you have like much more high quality music you can use.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. Okay, let's move on to the next one. It's Einhander.
I think it's almost done, right? We can just wait for it to get over and switch.
Yeah, sure.
Everyone's on Einhander now, I'm guessing.
Yeah, okay, yeah, good. So, we get to the PS1 era now, sort of. Like there was already G-Darius.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's where Zone of the Enders got their inspiration from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This track is pretty fire lit. It's industrial techno. It's like proper techno.
It's kind of hybrid between psytrance and techno,
Yeah.
in my opinion. It's kind of like just borderline, but you could definitely tell, those times where obviously electronic music is starting to get even just much more bigger and popular. The use of electronic music becomes a little bit.
Cyberpunk, sorry.
Yeah, definitely Cyberpunk. You can see it in the game.
Actually, I'm getting some Fifth Element mood or something.
Yeah. Definitely.
That bass sounds uniformly 90s.
Okay, so what does this theme speak in the context of just shmup gameplay? Like you're breaking out, moving on the street, and just I don't remember much of Highlander, honestly.
Yeah, this is, I think, the first stage music as soon as you enter the German city on Earth. So it's a futuristic city that you're invading literally to kill everything that exists inside it. So, and the music kind of fits, really.
So apparently Shmup, Shmup OST is also as much influenced by the just the hot trends in electronic music whatsoever.
Yeah, and as Aquos mentions, this is the only this is a Squaresoft shmup. They don't make these anymore.
Well, that's a mistake.
Yeah, big mistake. But well, they are swimming in money anyway from Final Fantasy and whatever other stuff they have going on.
Imagine if Hideo Kojima made a shmup.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way for it.
Also, Kitsui out of nowhere.
Yeah, this is the infamous warning video. So
I've got two
the
of
next
these.
track is also my favorite because you will know why as soon as it takes off.
Yeah, the game everyone should play. Once, at least.
Go play Mars Matrix.
I feel like Mars Matrix is like people don't understand the music, but if
People
others
don't
love
understand the
it,
gameplay either, but it's somehow still mentioned.
I like this track. There's so much going on in this track. There is a slapping bass line, and there is the guitar, the two guitar sets. Plus there are like orchestral drum hits going on in this, and the entire thing is set on I think it's a modulator, so it like travels left to right on the channels, like the balance.
Oh yeah, panning. Panning really just hits.
Panning. The entire thing is set to auto pan, yeah. So it like pans from left to right throughout the thing. The only thing constant is the drums and the bass line. It was like pretty neat for.
How many shmups do I have aiming break in them? Like this one. Just like
Actually.
this. Right.
I can name
Yeah,
as
go
much shmups as you can.
I definitely
keep
can
going.
hear the bass going left and right, back and forth.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, in this track it does, but there is another track in this, I confuse them both. Yeah, in this one it does travel. The entire thing does travel.
So speaking of like we were talking about left and right. We were talking about like stereo sounding.
Yeah.
A lot of music back then was just very mono based. But one of the first shmups that introduced stereo music is Gyros, believe it or not. Gyros is a game I believe made by Konami, and it's it was kind of like a Tempest style game.
Oh yeah, Konami also used panning well in their run and gun games like Contra Hardcore. Pretty famous tunes over there. Also good use of FM synthesis, even though it's not a shmup, it's close enough to be mentioned.
The other thing is that JAMA is is, I don't think JAMA does stereo. You can get stereo out of JAMA, but like it's a additional thing that you have to do for it to get it out, because the base JAMA format does not support stereo sound. So a lot of these were composed in stereo, but like on most arcades it was mono, unless you did the special thing and got stereo out of it.
Well, when you think about like stereo, that's not really accessible unless you, as you said, through different modifications or connection standards. I mean, for example, like the what's it called, the Neo Geo. That one actually has the capability of doing stereo, but you have to go through a different type of connector in order to get that. Same thing with the Capcom CPS2. That one requires another different connector to get the stereo.
Yeah, I think it's worth mentioning that all these stereo games obviously are sample based and not FM. Some FM games have stereo, but it's mostly stuff like on X68K and stuff like that.
Oh.
Yeah, and they mostly have hard panning.
Well, I guess I got standard corrected. System 11 did mention there was quite a bit of stereo boards out there. It's just the standardization of it wasn't really prominent until came prominence. I'm not sure exactly what year, but it's definitely later time around mid '80s.
Radiant Silvergun track is particularly interesting in that it introduces a concept of leitmotif. Like really prominent leitmotif at that. It's used in almost every track of the game. And it's just more clearly seen in this one.
A very prominent leitmotif carried out throughout the entire soundtrack. It's actually very pleasing to hear. Though the same composer also made music for Final Fantasy Tactics, so some people knew what to expect. I'm a fan.
I'm not sure. Well, yeah. Let's add it. This is on the STV hardware, so I think this is kind of, if I recall, this is based off the that advanced sound chip that Sega was using, the Sega Saturn, if I recall.
Yeah, this is CD-based music, if I'm not wrong. STV is a disc-based system, right?
Yeah. I think the usage of leitmotif is justified by the game's plot because it's basically taken place in a time loop. Back when Shmups actually had plot.
Plot in my Shmup, what?
Yeah.
So,
It's gotta be the only shmup with the RPG-ish music, right?
Yep. Ikaruga kinda has similar, but then again it's again Treasure.
Yeah, well, it doesn't really fall in the same department, I feel like.
Yeah, we already mentioned like Gradius 5 aircraft carrier, also by them.
Man, this definitely sounds like oozes of it, man.
You can stick this track in a Final Fantasy game and it'll sit right in.
How dare you penetrate my territory? You have robbed everything I possessed. You know, what you've done to me is just unforgivable. I'll punish you myself and see to it that you die a miserable death by my awesome weapon. Die, maggots.
Not the bees!
Bees, 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 bees. Bees return. Okay, yeah. Too many anime videos in my suggestions.
Like,
okay, I'm
it's
sorry.
very to have Raiden sell again with the B at the same time.
Okay, yeah, I have another warning video for you guys. Okay, and here goes PC98. Beautiful thing in the right hand. And start of the composing legacy of Sun, also known as Junya Ota.
Unpopular opinion incoming. I prefer PC98 Toho over the modern one.
Music-wise too?
Yeah, music-wise.
Yeah, that's cool. So many people got introduced to the Shmup OST via Zun's works, and this one is particularly interesting in that it uses complex chord progressions, as Zun himself mentions. And also he used to compose more dark songs just back then when Gensoko was kind of dangerous. There were no just spell card rules in place, and it was free-for-all sort of thing. Like, you could actually die potentially in the game. But now it's kind of retconned, and the PC98 canon is not as important, but it deserves to be mentioned as the start of just the long path of Zun, and we'll get back to him later. So PC98 is also an FM-based thing, except Zun's composing style is not as harsh as it would be like with most of the Genesis style shmups. It's more gentle.
Well, PC98. Let's see. Use it.
Oh yeah, he didn't have the romantic trumpet here yet. Enjoy it while you can, because almost every song in Windows series will have some trumpet in it. Some people love it, some people hate it.
98 work in
Sorry.
music. Go ahead.
Curious question, actually. Did PC98 use an FM sound chip or an OPM one? I can't quite remember.
It's a YM2203.
Oh, okay.
So it's, I think, 6 channels in total. So you have 3 that you cannot alternate, like SSG, it's like PSG, and 3 that are FM. But I think 2 of these 3 channels can be used biphonic, so you can have 2 melodies at the same time, which makes it like actually 5 FM channels. You can kind of cheat it like that. Or at least that's what I believe it is. I'm not entirely sure.
I would have mentioned there was like also the YM2608 to use with the PC98. So I mean the chips kind of somewhat vary during its lifespan.
Yeah.
Honestly, the first time I played Toho, I think I was even streaming it. I think the trumpets might have gave me tinnitus, so...
Oh yeah, by the way, I think Toho has popularized the trend of giving each boss their own theme.
I think it existed kind of before that. I think Garega does have 2 boss tracks, one for air and one for ground.
No, but for every single one of them, like, they have to contribute to the boss's personality because they're humans.
Yeah, I can't remember anything before that, so...
That's kind of the specific of just character-based shmups. Alright, yeah, what's next? Yeah, it's now time for Beatsgo to shine.
It's just a remix, a little bit modern. Nothing really special, to be honest. But it's the song is based off of what's
Phantasmagoria of Dim Dream.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
it's the theme song.
Yeah, the title theme. It's pretty long actually. So we might consider skipping it too, but we'll listen to it a little bit.
To be honest, it's like the good stuff starts appearing in 2 minutes of the song, so this is quite a long song, in my opinion. We could definitely, I could definitely provide the link to on SoundCloud. I'll give you the link for you guys if you want to listen at any time. But it's a pretty interesting song. I just mash up like, interpretation of what I think is the intro, middle, and ending. Basically extended a little bit further than normal, and try to replicate this audio. And I know some of the sounds, where for example, like what sounds like a tick-tocking sound, I thought interpreted as a hi-hat, or just wherever unfortunately at that time, it's like it just wherever works, this song. And for those who are wondering, I did develop the song in Renoise. So it's on our tracker. Renoise.
It's a good software. Yeah, I like trackers. Yeah. It's got a free trial. Yeah, totally not advertising here. Yeah.
Well, Renoise is more of like a modernized interpretation of a digital audio workstation or a DAW. Something like Fruity Loops 20 or Ableton. It's just a different variant of that with a tracker interface to it.
Yeah, it's basically a tracker interface, but everything else below it, the engine and everything else is almost as good as a modern engine. DAW. Any other DAW.
Okay, yeah, can we talk about just the process of creating a shmup cover? Like, how do you pick what song you wanna just fit to your abilities or something?
Cover inspiration, or what are you inspired by when you think? So you have games or artists that are trying to not replicate, but inspired by.
For this, I select the song based off songs that has really been touched. I mean, this song, A Dream Transcending Space and Time, has it been? I looked around to see has anyone really done a remix for this? And it seems like no one has done too much. I mean, there is a rock version of it. Someone did, but not like a electronic music. But there's for a song like this, you're trying to find something that speaks not really Zune-ish, but kind of, I guess, my style-ish. So I kind of try and make it sound the way I think it's supposed to sound.
You really like Namiki. That's sure. Yeah.
I mean, a lot. I mean, a lot of the music I did back then was heavily influenced by Namiki. That's why it's just I love that style. It's that kind of techno-ish.
It's funny because in my case, so when Gradus, was playing, I was mentioning that it was actually the first shmup music that made me interested in knowing more other shmup music. And the first thing I jumped into are the cave shmup music, and I was like, damn, these games are awesome. I need to play them. I don't know how many people actually get into this game because of the music, but there's got to be probably a lot other than just me.
Yeah, there's this
Namiki is a big influence in the fact that I'm playing just these kind of games.
There's this common problem with just Taha covers. It's just most of the popular musicians that are famous for covering video game songs. What's the first thing they cover? It's gonna be Bad Apple. What's the second song? It's gonna be You Know Where Was Her. Third one, Flower in Night. And there's just little to no just time where they pick something that's not really been done by thousands of people before them.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing different interpretation. That's why people have different, styles and flavors. I mean, for example, Tane, some of the music you've done, it may not represent what the original artist was looking at. It's it's a different viewpoint in this case. I'm not sure about you ArcOfDream. What have you done any covers before?
Early on, when I started making music, I did a lot of them, a lot of covers. Some Touhou ones, some not Touhou ones. In particular, at the time, I was playing a lot of Ray series games.
Oh yeah, that's a good series.
Because Zuntata.
Yeah, we actually covered Zuntata a bit, but we just covered actually Ogura. It would be interesting to show up the other members, what he can do.
Yeah.
For example.
Wait, I thought Zuntata was Ogura and that singing girl and some more people.
No, Zuntata is actually a group of artists, huge group, kind of like the Sega Sound Team, for example. They're actually consist of multiple in-house artists.
By the way, Zuntata is like
I
one of
some
the
of the
one of
members when
yeah.
you mentioned
One of the reasons why Junya Ota's pen name is Zun, because he worked at Taito and was really influenced by that band too. Just funny coincidence.
What about the Tata part? Or is it just
Tata.
Alright, let's resync on the 25th video.
Okay,
I'm
yeah.
sure we would have
Eschatos,
drifted out.
stage 3. Yeah, Beatsgo prepared the interview.
Oh, what?
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
Countdown ready. 3, 2, 1, click. Okay, here's the rare representation of trance music in STG.
Yeah, believe it or not, this music's a little different. I guess during this time, Eschatos was, Cave was looking for, I guess, different sound like at that time. So let's see here. The artist that that created was Soichi or SOU1, and one thing
It's all done in mod. You know that?
Yeah.
Like Ketsu Dojo and this, it's all done in mod. And Ketsu and Dojo, they had some problems because they're like basically the way to make the music work on the hardware and how you could not work with envelope follower, so it was absolutely analog to make the music. And apparently this got fixed during the time the Eschatos composer joined in, so you actually could make music much easier than, like more easily than what Namiki did in the same mentioned. So it's what gives this freedom and actually makes this trance music kind of easy to produce randomly.
Yeah, I've heard that trance music isn't really as popular for STG because you have to consider the flow of the stage into account.
Well, you have to remember, mod music is also just tracker music. That's all it is, and it's, that's coming from, as I said, as before, it's coming from the days of demo scene music. So it was for some people, tracker music is almost like programming wise. It's a different way of just programming music, and so it's for people like me or maybe some other artists, it's easier to sync up games to it because it just looks like you're just programming a song. So during that time, mod music was the go-to format because that was kind of easiest way to compress the music, make it easier for it to repeat certain audio samples and exemplify the effect, the themes, while in a very compact format for the arcade board.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing about the size of it. It's mod files are small, tiny, and it has all the samples and everything that you need to play it included. So it made sense to use it. DOJ, I think, even on the arcade board, uses mod file for the soundtrack.
That's a nice trivia, yeah.
Someone extracted all the Cave mod, and so you can play them in mod plug, but also you have all the samples, so you can make your own music with the samples of the game, like the OG samples.
Yeah, and that's was it in OGG? That was like the original sound format they use in there?
No. The samples? I have no idea.
Okay. Well, and what's interesting about this specific song, Soichi, who created this song, he believes this is like his best, even though everyone says like stage physics, like one of the coolest stages. He thinks this one's coolest because it's it has a really cool melancholy vibe to it. So and also expresses what he personally feels about it, and it as well.
Okay, yeah, pay attention to the beginning of the next track, it's funny. It's the final boss scene.
I do believe Eschatos is a great game to get into cave games. Cave Shmup, sorry.
It's very beginner friendly, I have to say.
I was actually just about to say that Tremendous Pressure is actually one of my favorite songs from this game.
Yeah.
Was that sample? The sample. You guys heard it, right? What it said?
Fuck off.
Yeah.
It's funny. Yeah, it's just, yeah, the final boss, like, yeah, it just stealing the powers of your mother for some reason, yeah, and just, and you're just trying to mess him up so much. And he's like, yeah, go away from me, I'm gonna just destroy you otherwise. Yeah, this track has just really high tension, especially just at the last patterns where you have to do like heavy micro, just running out of gems and whatnot.
It's my favorite track of the soundtrack because the only one that's not trains.
Representation.
Yeah, it's a different direction compared to what Anubu Namiki was going for, in the previous
The Namiki
cave
trends are really
shmups.
cool. The Namiki trends. The OG Eschatos, that one trends, I don't know. I was got there too though. We got to cover that up because it's good.
I think also, besides the difficulty of trying to create this music for Ketsui, I think it was just maybe a different direction too. That's what was kind of Cave was looking for. But I do believe the difficulty of trying to change up from a sound chip to a all PCM style music must be like a different. It's just a way different approach.
Game hardware, what's working like that? Like it's not. If it was up for them, they would make it on FM, obviously. But just because it's Taiwanese stuff, and they decided to use mod because why not?
Yeah. Well, and part of that too is easy to implement that onto their software and just translate it as quickly as. Pretty sure that's why they went that route.
Okay, let's talk about just what does constitute a good final boss music for you. Just shmup final boss.
Energy.
I don't know, it depends of everybody's tastes, I think, but in most, what you're gonna find in most final boss music is mostly the tuning and like dissonance. Like mostly you want to create a dissonance to make a feel of discomfort for the player. Trying to put the discomfort in the player, so you gotta pick something that just makes you feel like awkward. And all this final boss music, they're like dissonant and tuned and like this one, for example. But you
Make
have
it
to
stop.
that too as well, which is also.
I know 4 types of final boss themes. They're either crazy, sad, they're really energetic, or they're creepy. Like this one.
Oh
This
yeah.
is amazing. Yeah.
Creepy.
I'm just thinking of sad, and then the first thing that pops up is Mushihime-sama Futari's true last boss music.
You mean which one? Like, oh yeah, Spiritual Wars, right?
Yes,
This is very
exactly.
gentle. Yeah, this is definitely another kind of mood, but I think what we're trying to, describe here is this kind of oppressing moods, like in this one track here, for example, or even like the DDP boss track that's used for Hibachi as well, which is perfectly fine because it's already pretty good.
Or you could be Gradius. You just use the same old cheery music.
And it's definitely more iconic than that's for sure.
But Gradius doesn't really have final bosses to speak of.
No, not really. It's only like when you start going like Gradius 2, Gradius 3, and above. That's when you kind of they kind of switch up things to kind of suit the the contrast of the themes during the boss fights. But yeah, the greatest one's like, oh, I don't care. It's very cheerful. We'll have a good time, kind of deal.
This is my favorite track in the game. I
Oh,
think
really?
up till DOJ, all the Dozunpachi games, this is my favorite track out of all of them. It's just it's pretty iconic. The violins going on, and it's just like straight up oppressive.
See
Exactly
someone
what Dave
mentioning
said.
the country like violins. I agree.
Canton here.
Sure.
Yeah, just you're like, oh hey, this is the final boss, and yeah, I need some cool music. Hello, my violinist. Yeah, play something.
This track and the stage 5 track, Tidal, is probably like top 2 competing tracks for me.
Yeah, cool. Just how can you characterize the Yoja music as a whole?
You know, I always wonder where they pull this violin samples. That's kind of, there's no way he. Well, he probably maybe asked somebody to play it, but to get this sound,
How many channels does this have again? 8?
This particular board.
Okay, you can try and look it up, and well, yeah, we can kinda just, yeah, talk about. Did Namiki compose the music for all of the games? Like all the Donpachi games? Well, not this one, of course. Like
He's not Donpachi, I guess.
The BL soundtrack was such an improvement over the original soundtrack for DFK. I mean, I like the original as well, but like Black Label soundtrack just blows it out of the water. The only track I'll prefer from the original is Longhana Cantata.
I'd say Stage 5 is okay as well. It also has nice
Actually-
callbacks to the previous Donpachi games.
I actually prefer the stage 3 theme over the Black Label one.
Oh yeah. Okay, so we stopped talking about.
Yes, go ahead.
We stopped talking about tech, and just by the hour we just started derailing into whoever likes which tracks.
And also it's kind of like very different because I think this is the only Black Label that Cave has, which has a different soundtrack entirely. I think none of the games before this had it.
I just wanted to mention that I read somewhere that Namiki was very unsatisfied with his work on this game, actually.
Is
This-
that why he created a remix of it?
I don't know, but that's what I read somewhere. Like, it was really unsatisfied with the results he did for Daifukatsu.
Yeah. For me, top form Namiki has to be Ketsui. Because like the tracks in Ketsui are just fire, all of them. And Garega.
I think the top Namiki is not even a Shmup. It's I'm not gonna say what game, but it's something else.
Okay, yeah, Akashic Verse visuals are really fit into this, I think. So, what are the genre influences in this case?
In this, it's dance music. It's EDM.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I mean, it's definitely a late 2000s
Yeah.
games. So yeah, it's definitely in that in that mood.
I think I'll never get used to have Vocaloid for Final Boss music.
yeah. I mean, I would love to sing this tune, but the notes are so damn high. I don't even think that a human, just non-professional, can sing them closer to the end of this.
Well, I just feel like it just fits the theme as well.
Yeah.
By the way,
For being a Japanese game.
I don't even know the lyrics.
You can
They're
try
just
singing it if you want. You want me to try singing it?
oh, not now. I mean, I don't know the lyrics. If anybody knows, please reply in the comments to this video.
That feel when you will never reach the height of soprano.
I mean, I can transpose it an octave lower, but it wouldn't be as cool.
Yeah, as you probably notice with music now, because we have enough enough space on these ROM chips, you just really you can just put the whole song in a couple of these, and you're pretty much good to go. You don't really need to. You're not really limited now on space, even though there kind of is, because it's arcade game technically, nor limitations on the PCM chips now, because now everything's PCM based. There's nothing's really what's it called, sound chip based, or signal jamming based.
In Silent Hill, the boss is the beat.
Chip music. Even when you actually do chip music, you generally convert it into a wave and just put the entire thing on there instead of making it hardware.
The reason why people use chips anyway is because the sample bit was not possible. If it was possible, they would have done it with that anyway.
Yeah.
It's just a limitation in the game.
Yeah. That's why, now it's like, it doesn't even matter. Even that, like, at this point, late 2000s, now you're starting to have PC-based arcade games. So really, you can just forgo sound. You just have sound cards. Audio chips that just does PCM stuff now instead of doing sound chips.
You gotta love it when music evolves along with how the technology progresses, and now we're pretty frequently falling back memories of the past, and we're emulating architectures.
Oh god.
Yeah. I like how this composer kinda adapted his style to be more modern for this one. It has dubstep influences. Also boobs influences. Last game of Cave, everyone. Last arcade game.
Time.
I don't believe it's the last game, but it's, when it comes to, a stand-low shmups game, likely. I do believe they're still going to produce games, may not be just suited for purely shmups, in my opinion at least.
Like, yeah, this is the only shmup team that I remember before I seriously took into arcade shmups, and I've seen little things like Queen Larsa videos, and like I wouldn't ever just imagine being able to play the games like this myself, because they were in Japanese arcades and such. Even though I was interested in trying them, I was like, it's impossible, like there's no technology, so But this track, yeah, it's really cool.
This is super compressed as well. The compression is like very heavy-handed, but it still sounds so good.
Yeah,
on
the
top
sound
of that.
on PCB is just super bad, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're still kind of, as I said, you're still kind of living on a hardware, but the only thing you really do is compress it. Basically chop up bits.
What's the point of making super detailed music if the STG hardware can only make like absolutely crappy sample resolution? I mean, it sounds really bad on the board. Like it sounds better on the PGM games with the mod, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, what was your question again, Saint? Sorry, I just missed that.
But I'm surprised we haven't made any mention to there's a lot we missed in composers and everything, because I see we're approaching the end of the playlist here.
There's still like 20 videos, I mean 12.
We could make like these twice as long though, to be honest, so
Yeah.
yeah.
If we really wanted to cover everything, we would be here for I think 12 hours, listen to almost every track released ever.
Definitely, it's just too much.
Yeah.
You gotta make what's the most like iconic to the shmup genre, and I think for most people, Radius, Cave, Toho, that's like obviously the first thing gonna come out. Then we have some Tata, that was also very big, and the rest is just more, of course, secondary.
Okay, yeah, you get then 10 minutes of this track to talk about the other composers.
Yeah, let's skip.
Okay, yeah.
I think it looped over already once.
Yeah. Like more than once already. So yeah, back to Zoom.
Oh,
I end
this is
stage.
15 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I end
So-
stage 16. Voyage 1969.
So let's sync back.
Yeah, okay. Ready? Countdown. Okay. 3, 2, 1, click. So for me, Zune is just kind of second era, just the Windows games, the first games. They are really memorable for me because he was still kind of trying to establish his style while using Windows, and he used stuff like Roland Sound Canvas and such, and his pianos are freaking amazing, like here.
This
This
is on MIDI,
Also,
right?
Huh?
I think this is the wave track. It's not the MIDI one.
Yeah, I don't put MIDIs in here, but yeah, Zoom included MIDIs until Phantasmagoria Flower View demo. They are there, but yeah, the wave recordings are actually rendered MIDIs.
Yeah. It's
You just used the, SC88, is it right?
When you play them on your computer, it can be played with a sound canvas named the SC88 Pro.
Yeah,
And this can do anything. Like a lot of people used that back then in days, I guess, where PCM started to emerge in video games. And for example, like take Thunder Force 5, for example, it's entirely done with AC88 Pro. It's just one tiny machine.
Yeah.
Which is, and of course, there's like a wide array of music, different genres of music can make up with just this tiny machine here.
Yeah, so just to add on to that, you have to remember, like back then, PCs were limited on these sound, what we could be using as sound chips. So companies like Roland, eSonic, Yamaha produce these, what's basically known as sound modules. Give them a vast array of sounds that are predefined in MIDI, in a MIDI, in quotation MIDI format that allows them to have more high quality sounding synths / instruments they can use. Give them, have
Plus of that
much more.
is that you don't need like a recording on the game. You can just have like the mapping, if we can kind of call it like that, of the whole MIDI, and it will play it on the GS instrument that's included in any Windows. So it is kind of cool, obviously. So you get actually not lossy sound in some kind of way.
People actually kind of forget like how long it took computers to play music, like proper wave files. Came along a lot later than a lot of people would expect.
Yeah, I mean that's the history of PCs is a way different. It's like it follows suits with sound chips. It's like because everything was just sound chip based, and they haven't really been able to do PCM audio until like in the early 90s, because that was available. Obviously, some of it was available in the late 80s, but late 90s that's when you started to see it more prominent.
You gotta love that
Mention
turning
how
point in
Zune
the
is
early
always-
2000s.
I can mention how Zune is always using the same instrument set engines.
Yeah.
Just remember.
yeah, there are videos on that. Like his main instrument of choice is the romantic trumpet.
Trumpets,
Zune.
The what?
Yeah, Zoom.
trumpets.
Yeah, Zoom played trumpet
Zoom loves-
in the school band.
Archidron, what's your like go-to synth or type of instrument you use on your music?
If it's FL Studio, I usually use Synth 1.
Synth one is amazing. It's free.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's based off the I forgot like which Nord
Nord Lead 2.
synthesizer. Yeah, Nord Lead 2, but
It-
it's super powerful synth.
Yeah,
Very
it was
versatile.
in the beginning it was kind of like an emulation of it, but then he kept adding stuff to it, the developer, and it became its own beastly thing.
Oh yeah. So the advantage of this is that you can stick it into any just digital audio workstation, and even renoise, and just use it to make any sound.
Well, when we talk about like reproducing sounds, that's a different story. That's like almost like just re-engineering or reverse engineering what you thought you hear and then trying to apply it onto a different type of instrument that may or may not reproduce a similar sound. I mean, for example, like a not sawtooth, super saws. That requires you to have like maybe multiple saws, but sometimes you may not have that ability, so you may have to like layer it with different instruments, or you may have to just produce you layer all of them and then just produce a simple sample out of it. So it varies basically on how certain instruments may sound on different hardware or software, technically speaking.
Yeah.
What do you think mostly Toho music is influenced by? Like, what kind of genre is it influenced by? Maybe? If it's not just classical.
I think
it sounds more or less like movie soundtracks, like.
Of course, that has played a big part in the nature of the music and the scales and the chords and everything. Like, there's a lot, like, if you listen to some Nice Tracker soundtracks, you're gonna see, like, there's one that just sounds a lot like one of the Toho songs. Something I'm not too versed in the Toho verse, which one person, like, specifically, but it almost sounds the same. It's basically kind of tied to very influenced music in the end.
Yeah, because he already worked in Taito, and what I noticed from Zun is he tries to make his music sound very oriental, and uses a lot of black keys usually.
Pentatonic scales and everything, yeah.
Yeah, and about this theme in particular, it's one of the better final boss themes in my opinion, because it has some dynamic to it, and the character you're fighting this time is not evil. They have their own motivations, and their dialogue just roast you, and you're the bad guy instead. But you still have to beat her, and it's funny. Her theme is also like the theme of a hero. And just, it's how it expands, and just even has the bits on the backstory of her, like how she was sealed in another dimension because humans were afraid of her power and such.
Someone killed that goddamn trumpet.
Okay, yeah, stop. We can move to your thing now, yeah. So yeah, just one more thing about Zun. He loves to sync the stage to the song. Like, he makes the song first and then he makes the stage after it, and that's what really differs like him from the other Shmup composers, I suppose.
Well, because he has full control of how a shmup is created. That's the reason why. He is the creator, not only just for the music, the programming, also the stage design and the character design and artwork for it. That's the reason why.
Yeah. So, just one little thing. It's just that he uses the game to complement the music, and that he might even make some enemies like have more HP or just spawn extra waves until the certain part finishes, and there's the mid boss. And there's just the boss transition, boss dialogue and such. Yeah, it's really cool things he does sometimes. And we got to move to the next covers of Tain, which is Eschatos, very famous game. Countdown.
This is old stuff I made.
3,
Back
2,
at the days of the
1,
dinosaur.
go.
Time for the dinosaurs, yes.
Okay, Eschatos is pretty infamous in just Shmup community for having really good music.
Well, it's mostly famous due to Yasui. Oh man, Yasui is like, if he wasn't like, you know, born like the, you know, before, like, you know, modern, like, I would say before, but like, you know, if he didn't, you know, start producing music earlier, what would have been, you know, what would have been with, you know,
I'm so
like,
sorry that you played this song because so many chords and like scales are like wrong, and also I used 2 PSG channels for the noise. While I had no idea back then that it was could only use noise on 1 channel, otherwise it messes up some of the sounds. And other stuff, like I was not using this tracker yet, so please excuse me for that.
It still sounds great.
I mean, that's not so bad for not knowing the hardware limitations or the quirks about it.
Looks good. That's
Yeah.
one thing.
Let me explain why I said that. It's because the music kind of overrides the game. So it's more known for the music than for the actual gameplay.
That's the team from Cardinal Sins or Children's Service, or one or the other, because I always miss the 2 personally. But I think it's originally not by Yasui, but then it got arranged for the Eschatos
JSS.
game, so. Yeah, okay, yeah. I always confuse it with the 2. It's just I never get used to it.
So
They
I got a
both
question.
are kind of similar, so it's very easy to confuse them.
So
And
I'm just wondering, whose replay video is this?
And no, they
Hey, Tane, whose replay video are you using in this video?
good question.
I think
Whatever the best score I could find back then. That's about it.
Oh, no, this is definitely. It's definitely.
This is
the
the
trailer. Yeah.
Okay, one question. Just what stuff you get into consideration when transforming the song into the MSX format? What are your common difficulties?
Sorry, because I was kind of cutting at the start of your sentence, so.
Oh,
I didn't
yeah,
get back to the
okay.
beginning.
Explain,
keep
please.
going.
Yeah. Beatsgo, you do it.
Oh, okay, sorry about that. Tane, he was just asking, how do you transpose a song for the original to, you know,
Just by ear.
That's-
Just by ear, or if I can find a whatever like ways of doing it, like in Hoot, if it's an arcade game or whatever. See the channels separately. I'm gonna use that, but I couldn't for this one, so you see some of the chords and scales and stuff like that are off, but it's not too bad, I guess. So Helsinker coming up. Oh boy.
Yeah, oh boy.
Yeah,
Oh boy.
this track is my jam. It's pretty great. It has the entire soundtrack for the game is kind of described like someone like mixed up jazz and techno together with some orchestral elements, and this track actually kind of like shines. It even has cat noises in it.
That's
Yeah.
cat noises. Yeah, I heard that perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very ghastly cat noises.
Okay, yeah, so you can
probably
stop.
will hear it halfway through the song.
Yeah, you can stop playing Mars Matrix now
Sorry,
and
playing.
start playing Helsinker.
Oh god, the cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has cats in
The-
it.
Yeah, the entire game revolves around a cat anyway.
Spoilers. Lol. But
God
yeah,
damn.
shmups and plot. Okay, yeah, they go so well together. Okay, yeah, play the game.
Cover-
There's cat. Like in Portal, there's cake. Yeah, except the cat is real.
Well, cover your ears, kids. No spoilers.
Damn it. So
It's a good song title as well.
yeah. All right. Yeah. Just I meant to ask. Just when you grab a song like Salamander 2 or Eschatos, and you have to do it in kind of inferior hardware material like MSX. Just what do you consider? What do you have to simplify or something?
Well, obviously the only problem is that in MSX with the STG you have 8 channels, so you have 8 sounds you can play at the same time. Some of the games like Copy have more than that, so usually there's some stuff I have to scratch. It's just a matter of trying to find what I can remove and still have some good result. But just trying to find, sometimes you can have other ways of like replicating a chord with multiple notes by using, I don't know, an arpeggio or one channel or something, but I usually don't use that. But just scratch some stuff from the original and just work with less channels.
Oh, speaking of, something that Tane mentioned, I would suggest for those who want to see, how those channels are, how Soundchip is working in terms of what's available, I would definitely get Hoots. Get some audio
just put
files.
your arcade ROMs in it and it will play the music. Usually it has the track list as well and everything. If you don't know that, go grab that right now.
Yeah, it's
must have
really music
for
software.
Like game music cover.
Yes. You can also load up PC98, X68K music on there as well. Anything with OPM.
Everything. The good thing about it is that you can export the patches games, so the FM patches, like if you want to say in some kind of way the instruments of the games, you can export them and play them in a VST, so you can actually make legit music that sounds like the game with the actual patches in whatever digital audio workstation like Cubase or FL, whatever. That's also kind of cool. I think it's worth mentioning.
I mean, there's definitely like, a good draw of people out there that really care about, doing the correct emulation or proper sound of how some of this stuff sounded. And not only that, kind of like record the history of how they do, how these patches sound like were set up. Some of this stuff does get lost, and you may not. Some people maybe reproduce it, or may not know where they come from.
Get back on the topic of it. I think Elsinker here. Obviously, this is very like trance and techno influenced. There's got to be some finer subgenre than just that, but obviously, I don't know.
Allegedly, Tomer, who wrote the music for this, said that it's more like on the lines of psytrance.
Psytrance, yeah, Goa trance, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I think, that sounds actually pretty Goa trance when I mention it.
Okay, finally the game matches the video.
This track is Akashic Verse Alternative Arguments. It's from that version of the game. It's not in the final version of the game, but this track is just so good. I had to put it on the list.
Actually, is that one game where you have inputs like a kind of guitarist?
Sort of.
Dirty sounding, like lots of distortion.
Yeah.
Gives an industrial vibe.
Yeah. It's the game. We actually have the video for Akashic was playing on the stream right now as well.
That's convenient.
Okay, I have to reset the channel. Just wait for 2 seconds. Okay, back. We're still breaking up, unfortunately.
What genre would you think this game is? The sound is
Crazy.
Crazy music. Crazy bus.
It's definitely not dubstep.
Enter a subgenre that is so that it's not impossible to define, basically.
Yeah, because it has that
Like the
trancey.
vocals, I'm not entirely sure if I agree with that, but it sounds good otherwise.
I can tell that there's a lot of influence from pop music.
Yeah.
Yeah,
At
I
least
agree with that.
J-pop.
Oh, snaps. It's, I think it is.
I feel you.
Oh, okay.
And here we go
Yeah,
to
I think
ArcOfDream's masterpiece. Let's
I
talk
wouldn't
about
say quite a masterpiece.
Yeah, you're just being just humble. Okay, so this track is introducing a leitmotif of its own, right?
Yep. It's actually, but though it's decisively not the first one I've written for the game. I think that, but I would say that this is the theme that I use for the rest of the game. If I can describe what was going through my mind while I was trying to write it at the time, I guess you could say I was trying to see what could solving a mystery sound like.
It's very interesting. What
It's
What
all
did you-
done in FT, right? In Family Tracker. Is that correct?
No, actually, I wrote that in PX Tone. I've
Okay.
based.
Oh, really?
Yep, I based off of the NES architecture though.
Hmm.
Though I didn't
So-
quite like to limit myself to the console's technical limitations, so I expanded on that, but without going too far.
Yeah, it worked out with
What-
this
what's your-
game too, because it's kind of retro styled.
So, what do you think of the PXL created?
Admittedly cumbersome, but quite flexible at the same time.
That's very
It's
interesting.
very active. There's a lot of PX Stone stuff in the chiptune scene. Most of the time it's labeled as fake bit, but there's some really good stuff produced with it. Personally, I don't use it, but I know there's a very active scene for it.
I know the track I was playing right now, it's the first theme I've ever written for it. You can see Alex in the stream there, he asks for a happy beat, and I initially thought I could write a leitmotif for that, but I ended up quite failing miserably after I've written that. I couldn't think of other ways to use scenarios, so I left that task to a future theme, which is one.
I see.
A lot
at
of-
least you made the right. Oh, sorry. Yeah, at least you made the right decision. You guys made the right decision that time.
A lot of the process in writing the music was basically Alex passing me a video or two, and I listened to that a lot. Then I tried to make music basing on that, and that's something new every time I write a new track. So let's say this theme is like a 4/4, but I wanted the next theme to be more like a waltz, so I tried that.
Yeah, that will definitely a waltz style would definitely be. It will definitely create a different tone as a first stage, for sure. Because it has a much more slower approach to it.
Yeah,
I'm pretty
the
happy with
first
the result
stage
either way.
and the nature of the what game Monolith is. It has to be like kind of comforting music and not just too gritty right from the start. I guess that makes sense.
Well, it's the stage 1, so it kind of makes sense. It's not that
Still
threatening.
innocent and pure.
Ah,
Not
yeah.
for long though.
Yeah, we have several stage themes in this. Alright, let's skip this one because I was buffering a bit on this one. So,
It's going to be ending soon.
yeah, it will. So, yeah, stage 3 theme, gun fishing. Countdown. 3, 2, 1, click. Here's a more schmoppy track.
So, funny thing about this one, it was actually originally going to be the main menu theme, but it didn't quite fit with the idea. It's initially going to be something like, was supposed to be 3 different themes varying in tone depending on how far you went, but instead this landed in the stage 3 theme. And later on, as I expanded on it, I got the idea to try and, give it her own entirely for a bar or two. And that's where the inspiration from Mushihime-sama Futari came from, specifically the Stage 2. As you hear right now, anyway. Many people say that...
It's a good arpeggio indeed, yeah.
Many people say that this is the first theme of the rest, that follow like a specific theme where the floor was made for.
Yeah, and what's the theme of this floor? So our viewers would know. Yeah, water. And surprise fish!
Spoilers.
Yeah, but they are surprising. Very surprising
Cover
fish.
Cover the kids' ears a little bit more for these spoilers.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, it's a nice theme. Like you're already a bit in, like somewhat experienced, and yeah.
I've actually been writing music for 6 years, badly may I add, before I did Monolith.
That's actually surprisingly short, because I thought you probably have at least 10 years in it.
But you haven't even made a shmup. Come on.
I'll make one eventually.
Yeah, I meant Wolverine. Like, he spent most of these 10 years composing music and tinkering with the engine.
Yeah, more or less. But yeah, I didn't have much to show for it, so...
Yeah, soon
it's
enough.
coming along, slowly.
Yeah, once STG Weekly official shmup endorsed.
Maybe in the next, if things go well, 2 years. If it doesn't go well, maybe another 10 years. So...
Yeah, okay, nice. Next theme. Yeah, it's the Stage 5 theme, yeah.
It's the penultimate stage theme at the game's release. And I had a lot of inspiration from Hellsinker. And Senpai Tanner noticed me.
Yeah, Hellsinker developer himself said that this is a good game and he liked the OST. It's quite touching. Yeah, and here's the Hellsinker on screen. Yeah, I like how the visuals they match up as much. Yeah, so Monolith is the example of the modern retro shmup-esque style, if I would say so.
I think that's one of the few things where I actually changed the bass drum kit that I've been using throughout the entire soundtrack. The only thing I did was elongate the kick a little bit so it'd be more punchy.
What I'm guessing you're using just a simple sine wave to generate it.
Kind of. Actually, that's a square-ish sound.
Oh, it's squares. Gotcha. Oh yeah, because it's wave
triangle,
table.
one noise, obviously.
Yeah, I haven't really used the PX Tone software. I hear there was some type of like custom wavetable stuff.
Big, very active scene for it.
It has two unique instrument formats. One has like a 2-channel wave shape kind of thing going on. You can either do like additive synth, or you can draw your own waveform.
So it's like wavetable, basically, right?
Yep. The other one is the PT noise format, and it's more fitting for drums and small sound effects. Basically, it's like what can I compare it to? I guess SXFR. I think that was called the sound effect generator.
Yeah.
Yeah, SFXR.
Yep. The tool is a lot more like that.
Yeah. Point being, you don't really have to spend like $500 on expensive software to make good music, but it certainly helps.
It kind of is like the return margins, they get like lower and lower the more you spend on it. So like you can make perfectly decent music with free stuff.
Yeah, exactly. You have to try it out and just so you wouldn't feel like pressured into buying the expensive stuff to make like something just for your casual game, just your own shmup, for instance.
Yeah, if you want to, like, people who want to start making their own music, there are a bunch of free trackers online. There are LMMS, even
It's not a tracker though.
cheap options like Reaper, Renoise, and there are so many VSTs out there free, which are like pretty decent. It's like
Yeah.
pretty easy to get started nowadays.
Yeah, and if you like chiptune, you can go into trackers like FamiTracker, which is probably the easiest one. Like MSX1 Trilo Tracker takes a bit more used to because you have to run it in emulator, but it's still really cool. Also has only keyboard controls for some reason. And what else?
Very annoying to use. FT, FamiTracker, you can make a lot with that, but usually, like, I don't know, some people like Impulse Tracker as well. Mod Tracker obviously is used a lot, and digital audio workstation obviously.
Yeah.
This
But as a beginner, if I had to recommend a tracker, obviously as Extruder said, I would recommend FamiTracker.
this is a fairly interesting theme.
Yeah, FamiTracker I'll highly recommend too, since that just you limit yourself to whatever sounds the Famicom has, and some other tidbits there too. So that's
the specific of this tracks is that it has 3 phases and it corresponds to 3 boss phases, and they kinda layer on top of each other. There's still the first one.
See, ironically, I started with the second one, and I just removed a lot of this stuff so it will fit for the first phase. I think this is one of the few ones that I didn't base off of shmups. This is more like Nier Automata and Shovel Knight.
And also the leitmotif, of course.
I blame Undertale and Radiant Silvergun, because Monolith, the soundtrack of it, is actually my first attempt on falling through with a leitmotif.
Oh yeah, just Toby Fox, I think he influenced a lot of composers just by his example of leitmotif, yeah. Also he was really influenced by Toho, yeah, we know that. So it's kind of like the generations of, one could say, indie developers just following in each other's footsteps. It's funny. Okay, and the third phase is about to begin soon. Here it comes. When it's... Oh, by the way, yeah, this boss kinda accurately represents what's going on during what happens during that phase. Very good timing.
It's okay, the bare knuckle row. We'll see it soon. Hear it, rather.
Leitmotif, yeah, I looked it specifically before this STG Weekly. Because I knew I got to use the term, yeah.
This track is actually pretty cool.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah.
I really do like the Gone Fishing track. It's just pretty interesting motifs going on there.
Yeah. Like in Fraxi episode, I didn't get to make my own boss. In this one, I didn't get to make any music. And oh yeah, have to mention the beautiful shmup that's coming to Steam really soon, and it's Devil Engine, composed by this guy.
Yeah, that's gonna be a very interesting game to come out. I think is it coming out like sometime in the next couple months from now, if I recall?
I think it's in 2019 somewhere. Early 2019.
So yeah, this song originally was meant for Thunder Force 6, but then Hihara Tsukumo just didn't get the opportunity to use it for the game, and so later on the developer of Devil Engine just contacted him and said, yeah, I'm making this very cool Thunder Force inspired game, wanna be my composer? Yeah, he was like, sure, I love it. And so this is the trailer song now.
Oh, really? That's actually pretty cool.
Are
Yeah.
you talking about Broken Thunder?
It even has, just the trailer has Lightning Strikes Again, which is the Thunder Force 4 song. Like, mentioning Easter eggs.
Tane, it's Devil Engine, it's a new game that's coming out.
Yeah, it's a
Oh,
horizontal
yeah,
shmup.
that's the thing I saw today on... Yeah, okay. It's like...
Yeah. And the developer of the game is actually in the chat right now, Synok. He's one of the developers. I think it's all 3 people working on it.
Well, it's a nice honor to have them over here. Thanks for watching the stream.
This is really in the vein of the stuff you did for the 5th game, which is also SC. I wonder if this is also done with the same SC88 Pro, because it sounds very much like it, to be honest. Like this MIDI guitar riff kind of...
Yeah.
Sounds
It
very
kinda-
SC MIDI.
It kind of does, though. You can tell from the part where they're doing the I forgot what you call a guitar when you're strumming multiple times. That definitely doesn't sound MIDI at all. It probably is a VST to create that sound.
Isn't it called Shredding on something?
I would say it actually sounds more like another game that he made music for Kana recently. It's called Gunhound EX. Also a very good game. Has the 4th part in the very well-known Justice Ray series of songs that started in Blastwind and then Thunder Force 5 and 6 and then Gunhound. It sounds very much like Thunder Force 5 or 6 even, like composition.
Yeah, the Challenger theme is going to be used in next DLC, I assume? Arc?
He's
He's away for
being right now.
Okay, yeah, but yeah, so just Challenger is going to be used in the DLC to Monolith, right?
Wait, come again?
Challenger, the track to the Monolith, like, it's gonna be used in the DLC, right?
Of course.
Yeah, good. And yeah, one of the two conclusionary themes of the episode. Firstly, the most metal credits theme in shmups ever.
Everything about Thunder Force, the whole series, is always about metal. Similar to what's that game? I keep forgetting about. But yeah, Thunder Force is, man. If you can play this on, if you can shred this on guitar, you can. It's hats to you, man. It's a very good song to play on guitar.
Stand Up Against Myself.
Yeah,
That's the track name.
yeah,
Amazing song.
Yeah, the title represents the point of shmups themselves, like you have to beat your own high score again and again to improve, to just look at your past self and see just how far you've come, and this song is a tribute to that. It's the ultimate tribute to the shmup players, those people who achieve their goals and just want more, just look for the new challenges.
I really do like the use of the line between 51 on this. It's just amazing chip sounds.
This is 2162, I believe. Yeah.
Is it?
151
Oh,
is,
okay. 151.
yeah,
Okay.
151
No.
is arcade.
No, you're right. You're right.
216
Yeah, you're
is
right. Sorry.
Right, yeah.
But it's still, besides that point,
Yeah,
still-
exactly. Yeah, it's pinnacle, it's classic Mega Drive music. That along with Battlemania, the second game. Which
And
less people know about. Like, everybody knows about Thunder Force 4, but man, Battlemania 2 has good gems as well.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the final boss of this episode is a Buccaneer Doom, and he has no remorse.
So that's basically all the music we have to, showcasing.
We're currently
Hmm?
playing Last Resort. No Remorse. It's linked
Oh,
in the
no
chat.
remorse. Oh, nice.
Because
Yeah, and
this
it's
I
the last
included
one.
in the original one, but somehow it got out, so we can sync
Like
on
it's
that.
buffering all it.
We don't need to sync, it's the final track, lol. So we kind of conclude
like
this
me.
episode, and what are our resolutions for today? Yeah, play Helsinker,
Yeah, play Helsinki, Mars Matrix, Thunder Force.
compose music. Yeah, look forward to Devil Engine.
yeah.
Yeah, Sinok, we're looking forward to making the episode on it as soon as possible. So, yeah, shmup music definitely just continues to evolve, surprise us, just improving its overall quality, and you can make your own shmup OST too, just relatively easily, as we've demonstrated with our composers.
As a composer, I can definitely suggest to always try and strive to improve yourself. Always try new things and try doing something you've never done before.
Yeah,
That way you can learn from it, and after a while you can perhaps even listen back to your previous tracks and see what did you do wrong before and what can you try and improve on next time.
I agree. Trying out a lot of different styles is a good way to roll yourself up, to make you better at different kind of songs and like themes, moods. Like a game usually is just in shmups, you have different like moods for different stages and different backgrounds, and it's good to get used to all of them to make stuff that's kind of more sad sounding or more happy and optimistic sounding. It's all depending of course it has to match up the stage layout and the mood of the game, but trying different kind of music genres is a good way to get better at trying to make pop music, I think.
yeah, you can kind of like grab a random cave stage without music and try to compose your own to it. Like, it could be a challenge.
I would suggest you should listen to all different kinds of genres, like step out of your comfort zone.
Yes, definitely. It's the first creative advice in any zone.
Yeah, you should listen to everything. Like, don't limit yourself to like particular genres of music. Like, you can get ideas from anywhere and everywhere, and each genre has at least something going for it that you should understand at least.
Yeah, in that sense, the shmup composer and the shmup player are one of the same. And this was ExtruderX, Nasty Wolverine, Tame, Beatsgo, and ArcOfDream, STG Weekly number 154, signing off. See ya.
Goodbye.
All right, bye bye.
See you later.